My dad wanted to come to the States just for a better life. He knew that he had to support his family back at home. He lost his father at a very young age, and so he kind of assumed the caretaker role for his family. On top of that, he knew that if he was to start a family, he would want to raise his kids in the US because there's so much more opportunities out here compared to living in Bangladesh. He starts his gardening season pretty early, so the Thai chili peppers is one of the first ones he starts. And then in instances where there's too much, he'll share it to other people in the neighborhood.
My dad came here from Vietnam, was a refugee. He knew the opportunity that America has for people who want to build a different kind of life. There was an opportunity to be free in a sense.
My mother is a semi-retired nurse. My dad worked on the line for Geisler. My parents are originally from the Philippines. My family's activism is rooted in where they come from. In the midst of the Marcos dictatorship, my grandmother and my grandfather decided that their families needed to be in a place that was much more safe. So the decision was made to bring them over.
For me, graduate school was the goal. My mother, a fourth grade educated woman, talked my dad into letting me come. I had no idea what was happening behind the scenes. All I knew was he'd given me his word, and he knew that if he didn't keep it, no, I'm very stubborn like my dad. And my children will say that too.
Being Asian American means being American, bringing my culture, my background to a place like America. My grandpa coming here way back when, starting a family here and working retail day after day in order to get my mom and her siblings through school. And we had our kids, and community and family is a part of our lifestyle. I want to ensure that I'm advocating for my community as best as possible, and I want to use my privilege to get out the vote.
I was always exposed to the idea that faith is intrinsically tied up with the work that you do out in the world. If you do have the means to help, then you should. That's a part of faith, and that's a part of taking care of one another. Voting is an expression of care. The family unit doesn't stop within your home.
My dad voted in almost every election. He wanted to make sure that we didn't go through the things that he went through.
Because I thought I was such a global citizen for years. I ignored my own community that I was living in. When I saw some of the results that I found difficult to live with, it made me realize I've got to do something about it. Once my children were born, the need became even more that they understand their Indian heritage, but also understand the responsibility that they have in the country we're living in.
I was one of those people who didn't think that my vote mattered, but I want to be part of change here in America.
We're never going to get perfect candidates, but there's immediate harm that can come from policies and from candidates who do not have our best interests at hand.
Representation matters, and we have to ensure that we're at the table.
We are the fastest growing population in the major swing states. The margin of victory is smaller than the actual number of Asian Americans who can vote. We have the power to decide the fate of this country.
Every election cycle is about the day after elections and how we are going to continue to ensure that we have our voices heard. If we're not in the room, someone else is speaking on our behalf.
Just because we don't see results within reach doesn't mean that we should stop trying.
The election system is an integral part of this country. If we don't get involved there, we will always be outsiders. I am tired of being an outsider.
I definitely would like to see more of us Gen Zs running for office in local elections. There are other spaces in the government that allows us to make a change. We're more aware of what exactly is impacting our community.
Whatever you're feeling, take that to the polls and vote for someone who speaks to your values and who speaks to your community. But sitting back at home and not doing anything is not the answer.
As I see my niece growing up, I hope she has a better world to live in when she gets older.
I wake up every day and I think of my 3 boys and what kind of America I want them to live in. I want them to be proud of who they are and not shy away from their cultural background.
We should shed more light about our heritage and our cultural beliefs and practices. Just be our own authentic Asian self.
If we want democracy to look like us, we have to vote.
Voting is your strength. Exercise it.